this entire video has a filter on it and I don't know why, but sorry about that. Today's video is going to be about books. I'm deciding what this video is going to be as I'm going through the day. But before I do anything, I'm going to go to Starbucks and get me some pinky drink because that is my favorite drink. And genuinely, every day, I have to get some form of coffee or drink or something. I never used to have this problem, but I drink a lot of tasty drinks all the time now. And I spend a lot of money doing it. I think I really used to just spend my money on books, Barnes & Nobles and half-price books. I used to go there all the time and just buy and buy and buy. But now I just kind of went into coffee. The Arctic freeze is happening right now, and it's quite chilly out in Texas. And I hate the cold, so going out to get me a pink drink is kind of telling how much I am addicted to the pink drinks. I think I'm just gonna go to my Goodreads and go in order of when I read certain books and just tell y'all about every single book I've ever read. Of course, minus like the stuff in like middle school or something like that, because I wouldn't have considered myself to be a reader at any point in my life until now. I think I started reading a lot more in like 2022, maybe 2023. But I have logged every book I've read since starting to like read for my own pleasure and like not academically. This is my second video on this channel since wanting to record again. I haven't made videos in years. But I just thought it would be kind of fun, just a little hobby. I'm stuck behind a garbage truck, so I did say in my last video, which was really bad, by the way. I fear I've lost the ability to make good videos. I don't know why that is. I think I'm just way more camera shy than I used to be for some reason, and that whenever a camera's on me, I act a certain way and I feel weird. But I just love books and I really want to talk about them. I don't really have reader friends in the way that I read. About that first video, at the end I said that I was planning on making a video of me trying on every single clothing article I have, which I still want to do. It'll probably be my next video if I make a next video. But I've been on a reading kick, and so my brain's just in reading mode and I want to talk about it.
Starbucks, what can I get started for you?
Hi, can I get a venti pink drink with no inclusions?
Yeah, venti pink drink, no inclusions. What else do you want to get?
That's it.
Alright, you're going to see you down here.
Thank you. Okay, I took off my jacket because I'm literally sweating right now. The girl in front of me, I don't know what she was talking about, but she was talking to the barista for like 5 minutes. And she already got her coffee, and I was like, get out of my way! Get out of my way! Get some good stuff! I know they're called Starbucks refreshers, but man, do I feel refreshed! I do want to preface, if you didn't see my last video, just know that basically all of my books are book talk books, or booktube books. I don't have any form of Me? I don't look for myself. Like, I only hear recommendations and I read them. That's always worked for me. I don't know how people just pick up books without knowing, like, what they are, unless they know the author, but that's different. But, like, you know what I mean? Also, sorry about the audio. I really just did not want to deal with the microphone right now. So I apologize that you can hear everything happening in my car. Hopefully I remember to put my Goodreads in the description, but please friend me, follow me. I love to see people's things and what they're reading and what they're thinking about it. So, be my best friend! Be my best friend on there, please! I only follow BookTube now because I've deleted TikTok. Not deleted it fully because no. I still want the option. I haven't been on TikTok in like a year maybe. But I know that deleting it is deleting it permanently now. And I like to, whenever people send me TikToks, I like to view it on TikTok because you can then see the comments and stuff, because that's like half of the good part of TikTok is reading the comments. But yeah, I just watch BookTube now. If you haven't watched my last video, then here's the people that I follow that I'm gonna try to remember, because I never look at their names, I just know them. I follow Haley Pham. She's my main person that I follow. Her videos are amazing. She's very good at video making, and our tastes are very similar too. And then we have, I think his name is Sean McComb. He's so funny. And his videos are getting super aesthetic recently. Hopefully I got the name right. If I didn't, I'm gonna put it here. But those two have inspired me to start talking about books, because it just seems so fun, and I want to talk to people about it, but I really can't because I don't have any book friends that are like with me all the time, and like I just wish to know my friends with. And then there's what's his name? Jack Edwards. He's a book critic, and he's also really funny. He's very witty too. I don't know that we have very similar book taste, but he's really smart and like is really good at getting people to read something. And also his library is huge, so it's always fun to see him like organize it. And like, I think he recently moved or something, and so he put up new bookshelves and it just looks so nice, and that's just what I want. But okay, I have about 100 books, physical books right now, on my bookshelf, and I want so many more, and that's the problem. I haven't bought a book in like a year. Not one. I mean, for myself. Like, I bought them for like other people, for like gifts and stuff, but yeah. I'm basically home now, so 1 second. Okay, outfit change because I was really sweltering hot. I'm gonna preface this by saying my opinions don't actually matter, all that stuff. The first thing I have read in my reading journey is Twilight. Yes, Twilight. Also, if you're looking at my shelf and thinking about last video, this looks very different from how I organized it. I can never be settled in how I want it organized, so it looks crazy. I believe I read Twilight through Breaking Dawn straight, like no other books in between. My Goodreads is kind of messed up, so it's not telling me exactly what order I read anything in. So I just kind of have to guess. Twilight has a special place in my heart. And it might be because it's the first one I read, or I grew up on the movies, and like, I don't know, I loved this series so much. I love the magic system. And also, Stephanie Meyer's writing is actually really good, and people shit on it all the time, but my second book was New Moon, of course. This is my favorite of the 4 like main ones, and also New Moon is my favorite of the 5 movies. I don't know, I just love the vibes, and also the soundtrack of that movie. So good. Just the vibes of this book really like felt like a warm hug to me when I was reading it. Eclipse. I don't really remember this book, if I'm being honest. I don't know. This book was erased from my brain, and I can barely remember the Eclipse movie either. I remember the scene where they're all in the tent and Jacob's like cuddling her, and he's like, and Edward's like, so did that scene happen in this book? I couldn't tell you. I don't remember. That's probably just my brain. Nothing to do with this book. So yeah. Breaking Dawn. This is my only hardback in this whole series, which kind of is annoying, but I get all of my, well, no. I get most of my books secondhand, so, and I was thinking, oh, it would be cool for the final book to be in hardback. I don't know why I thought that, but this book was great. Also, the way that Stephanie Meyer wrote about Bella's pain in transforming. Also, spoilers for all of these books probably, I'm not sure. I'll let you know, but when she's turning into a vampire, the writing of that and like being able to see what was behind those 3 days of the movie of her transforming was like so bad. Like I remember reading this and I was like, oh my god, like that's graphic. Like her pain and the feeling she was having, like she put her whole into this book. She put her whole into this book. Okay, based off of what Goodreads is telling me, I've then read Shatter Me. I don't think that that's true, but we're gonna say that that's true right now. Alright, it's right here. I'm missing some books because my friend's borrowing it. She's been borrowing it for a few months. But I read Shatter Me. This book was really different from anything I've ever read still. I think I'm just really into dystopian. I just like putting a twist on the real world, and also superpowers and stuff. That's sick. I definitely would recommend this series. All of the books are super short. Like they're all the same size. And I am missing one of the novella things. Yeah, these, it was really annoying having to like know the order of the books because there's like 12 of them or some shit. But I think I'm just gonna sum up this whole series into what I'm about to say right now, because I'm not gonna talk about each individual one because there's so many. I couldn't remember what happens or what. I'm pretty sure Restore Me, or maybe, I don't know. One of the bigger books of the series was my favorite. But oh my gosh, the plot twist. There's a plot twist every like 5 pages. And it's like, as you're reading it, if you know, your brain is like, you have to set your brain back like forever ago, and then you're like, now I have to relearn some stuff, if you know what I mean. It is definitely worth it. It's not great, but it's good. It's good. It's a good story. It's not the best writing. It's kind of hard to read the first book because of, what's happening. You have to read it to know what I'm talking about. Next, Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about all 5 of the books that are currently out right now. Instead of just talking about them whenever they come through. Oh, baby girl. Oh, baby girl. Oh, baby girl. I loved this book. I think you could read this as a standalone. Just if you just want to read the first book, not read the rest of them, that's great. Just read this one. Just read this one. See how you feel about it, because I guarantee you'll want to read the rest of them. The vibe of this book is very different from the rest, just based off of the main character and how she progresses near the end, if you know what I mean. But all of the books that I have physically, right now, I would still read. I would reread it again. Also, like the whiplash of the other main characters, of how they switch. I was like, oh, I thought I had it all figured out, and now you're telling me I'm so wrong, and now I'm gonna reread this and be like, well, I'm stupid for thinking that in the first place. Oh, I should probably tell y'all the ratings. My rating for the first Twilight book was 5 stars. I'm not sure that I would say it's 5 stars still, but it's definitely up there. It's at least a 4 for sure, in between 5. New Moon is a 5 star. I would keep it there. Eclipse, I put 4 stars. I would keep it there. Breaking Dawn, I put 4 stars. I would also keep it there. There's nothing like the first and second book, but especially the second book, so I gotta put it lower. I have to. Now, I don't know the order of the Shudder Me series anymore. I have no idea. Like, this is probably out of order, so I'm just gonna say what I think the order is and say the stars. Shudder Me, 4 stars. Destroy Me, which was the novella, 3 stars. Unravel Me, 4 stars. Ignite Me, 4 stars. Restore Me, 4 stars. Shadow Me, 3 stars. Defy Me was 4 stars. Reveal Me is 3 stars. Imagine Me, 4 stars. And Believe Me was 4 stars. Now, if I'm being honest, I would probably knock all of those down a star. Just based off of what I have read now, if I'm being honest. Akatar put 5 stars. I agree with that. A Court of Mist and Fury, 5 stars. I agree. A Court of Wings and Ruin, 4 stars. I agree. A Court of Frost and Starlight, 3 stars. Yes. And A Court of Silver Flames, 5 stars. Oh! I don't like people knowing these things about me. I don't like people knowing that I've read these things. So we're not going to talk about it, okay? Maybe a little bit, but we're not going to talk about it. Just this. I was like, I like this book a lot, to say the least. This was not as good as the first two. I think just because the first two have had so much to live up to. But this was still really, really good. But look how thick this boy is. Like, that's... I had no problem reading it back then. Now, I don't be reading long books like this. Like 703 pages. What was I up to? Why would I do that? That just shows how good this is. Okay? It's a novella. It's alright. It's fine. Cute little things in this. So, there's not much else to say about it, but... Now, I didn't think that I would like this book because of the main character. One of them. And how I very much just liked them the whole series. But this might as well be my favorite. I think I tell everybody this is my favorite out of all of them. It's just, it gives me chills thinking about it. Just all the things that happen. I'm like, I wish I was badass like that. I wish my boyfriend was like a fairy, like killer, like. Yeah, you could read this as a standalone, I'm sure of it, but don't. Just don't. Now, my favorite book series of all. Where is it? The Cruel Prince. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you don't like The Cruel Prince, you probably should not watch these videos because I can't stand with you. I can't stand with you. I don't agree with your morals. I think you're probably crazy or something. I have the special edition only right now because somebody's borrowing my paperback. But this book has changed so many things for me. And I love Holly Black. Yes. Also, throughout this book, I was like, how is this an enemies to lovers? Like, I hate the main character so much. Like, he is probably the worst ever. But as you keep reading the series, you're like, what? Everything changes. You question your morals reading this. Alright? Also, dude, I want to be you so bad. I want to be with you so bad. Something that no one ever talks about is how well the covers are made and how they match with the story so well. I wish I had the Cruel Prince because just all the stuff on there is like, she was hinting to all these things and like it's just right there on the page. Same thing with the Queen of Nothing. You can't see because the light's far back, but everything in the cover has significance, and I love that. It's so much better than like the lame character stuff. Like, do stuff like that. That's cool. Of course, I gave those all 5 stars. And since it's here, I'm just gonna say I read The Stolen Heir. I haven't read anything else besides these 4. Surin, I think that's how you say your name. I love her too. And all the fan art. There's this person called Frostbite Studios on Instagram. Their art shows exactly who I picture for these people. I wasn't a big fan of Oak. I just didn't think he had much to him. But it is a really interesting plot. The end kind of confused me, but what can you do? And I gave this a 4 star. I gave this 4 stars. Okay, next I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Somebody probably sees it right now and I'm just staring. Oh, that's, okay, it's literally right in front of my face. Okay. This I recommend to everyone. If it's somebody's birthday, I buy them this as a gift. Because the writing is so good. You get so enveloped into the second main character's life. I don't know if you could consider her second main character, but the twists in this, the many of twists, the original twist, which it shouldn't be a twist, but that's how life is today, if you know what I mean, was a bigger twist than the ending thing. I didn't care that much for the main character. I really didn't. I was like, what's the storyline? I don't care. Yeah, I give a lot of mystery and like, you know, but at the end I was like, oh, okay. But it's good. It's really good regardless. And it reads like a movie too. It's I love it. I haven't read any more Taylor Jenkins Reid, but I definitely plan to. But I fear that might be her best book. Because how do you top it? I gave that a 4.5 out of 5. It says 4 stars, but, you know. Ooh, next is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I love me some Sally Rooney. This is like the only book I've ever annotated. I don't know if all my annotations are still in there because I give this to borrow to people because the thing that people have a problem with Sally Rooney is that she doesn't use quotations. I did have a little bit of trouble with that. I was like, are they saying this or is this in their head? So I just went through and I did green and blue for them and then yellow for everybody else, which made it a lot easier. And I think I've reread this before. I don't reread books, at least not yet. But yeah, I push everybody to read this. I buy this for everyone too. If it's been sitting on your TBR, please just go ahead and read it. Like, it might be annoying to read, but bro, read it and watch watch this show. Trust. I gave that a 4 stars. Ooh, next is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Okay. I have this book and the other two. Hello. I've only read this one, but I've forgotten everything. But I read it because I knew there was a show coming out, and I still haven't watched the show. So I'm going to reread this, watch the show, and then read the rest of these. These are really good reads. I think I read this in one sitting. I could be wrong. I did read The Seven Husbands in one sitting, so... But this is good. It's not great, because it's like YA writing, which... It makes me feel a little dumb to read sometimes, and that's not, like, any offense on the author. It's just me, like, probably. Anyways, I'm excited to read these again, and for the first time. I actually gave that a 3 stars. I would say 3.5, but I would say 3 rounded down. It's a good, easy read, but has a good plot. When she solved the murder, I was like, what? I'm one of those people that try and figure it out before the end of the book, and I'm never right. I'm not very intuitive when it comes to stuff like that, so. Okay, next I read The Midnight Sun. I think after reading those first 4 Twilight books, I needed more. And I saw that this was a thing. This chunky masterpiece, like, it's like, you could hurt somebody with this. But seeing this from his perspective, ooh, it was really good. And also, like, I think the first time that they met in the classroom scene was insane. Like, such good descriptions, and, like, I felt the fear of being hunted. You know, like, that I was going to be hunted, when Bella had no idea that was happening in his head. And the way that he thinks, too, is really interesting, because he's a vampire, so he can think very quickly or something. And the way that his desire of her switches from simply, I like the smell of you, to, you're weird, I like you kind of thing. I like this book. 4 stars. This next book, I don't have the physical copy because I gave it back to Half Price Books. I hated it so viscerally. And that's going to be A Diary of an Oxygen Thief. So, if you know what I'm talking about, I'm really sorry. If you've read it, I'm really sorry. If you liked it, you know, it was really irritating to read. And I don't know if that was the point of it. The question is, does this author see something? Like he knows what the character is saying is wrong? Or is this character him? I gave it 2 stars because the writing was kind of interesting. It was not something I've read before. So it wasn't a 1 star. 1 star is usually like a DNF type of situation, but I don't rate DNFs because I don't think it's fair. Unless I've read like most of it. Yeah, his description of women was really gross, and that happens a lot with male authors, I've noticed. I'm just not into male authors really, because they always have some kind of weird thing, and like this weird thing about women and their innocence and stuff, and it's just like, yeesh. The next book is Speak. I really like this book, but I definitely liked the movie better. This was like super heart-wrenching, and reading this after reading The Diary of an Oxygen Thief, I was like, God damn it! But this reminds me of my experience of experiencing bullying and stuff, of just eventually learning that you can say something, you can speak your mind, and it's so much more freeing than just staying silent. I really recommend this book. So, also definitely read Also, definitely watch the movie because it makes me feel like a shriveled up leaf watching it, but like in a good way. It has Kristen Stewart as the main person, so, and if you don't like her acting, okay, I guess, but you just don't get it. You don't get it, and I'm convinced that people who don't like the Twilight movies, that don't like Kristen Stewart, you don't get it. 4 stars. Next, I read Pride and Prejudice because I hadn't read a classic at that point yet. I'm pretty sure I read this during like a winter time. Okay, actually I have no idea when I read this. I gave this 5 stars. It put me in such a good headspace, and the writing is just phenomenal, and this was the original enemies to lovers, and I just really like that trope, so this was definitely up my alley. I don't think I've read any more classics, but I want to. Then I read They Both Die at the End. If you think the title is a joke, it's not. I wasn't super impressed with this book. It was an interesting story, and how the world works was interesting, but it just wasn't super memorable. I don't think I would reread it again, but I'm going to keep it on my shelf just in case somebody else wants to give it a go. And I give it 4 stars, but I think I would give it a 3.5 stars now. Next is The Love Hypothesis. What the freak? Oh god. It's up here. What the hell? Okay. If you know anything about this book, it's a Raylo fanfiction, but it's in STEM. If you know anything about me, I love Star Wars, and I love the last 3 movies because of Raylo. Everybody calls me a fake fan because of that. You're the fake fan. You suck. You don't understand anything about love. That's a Star Wars thingy. That's a Star Wars puzzle that I made. Also, it's funny that his name in this is Adam. This was really good. Also, it does have spice for sure. Like just one scene of it, really. That one scene is like, I'm sad. Like, I'm sad. Yeah. I would recommend this for sure. I gave it a 3 stars at the time. I would say 3.5 now. The writing was, I felt like, was a little stupid. I don't like the type of writing where it's like, it feels like you're reading like a really, or watching a really bad rom-com. But just imagining Adam Driver in this book. The next one is Icebreaker. We're not going to talk too much about that. I wouldn't reread it again. It was a bit much for me, spice-wise. I used to not be bothered by it, but now that I've been reading more, I'm like, oh. The story wasn't that great either. They were just mostly like, oh, I don't like you. And he's like, okay, really? Prove it. And then they were like banging the whole thing, and a lot of miscommunication too in this, which I'm not the biggest fan of. It's really annoying. It's like this could have been wrapped up like 200 pages ago. Also, there's another trope in this, which I won't say what it is, that drives me nuts. Like, let me think about what happens, okay? Let me think. Don't push that in my face. That, you might not know what I'm talking about, but it's at the very end, okay? I gave that 3 stars, which I think is valid. Also, the whole hockey romance thing that's been going on, I don't really care for it. I don't care about the sports romances, really. I'm more into the academic or like artsy stuff. Next, I read The Institute by Stephen King. This was my first Stephen King and my only so far. I do have 5 of his books though, so I should probably get to that. This book was so interesting and super detailed in a good way. Like all male authors, there was kind of like a like a little shiver down my spine type of thing that he had going on. But it had two plot lines, which was really interesting. Like, it wasn't like a, oh gosh, I just want to get to that next plot line, like I don't care about this one. It's not like that. It was very much like you cared about both, or I cared about both equally. So yeah, I definitely would recommend this, and I gave it 4 stars. Next is Archer's Voice. I get giddy thinking about this book. My bestie, who isn't a reader really, she read this and she really liked it a lot, and we're both thinking about rereading it. But it's about this guy who's mute. The way that the author wrote his ways of communicating was really like nice and not something I've ever seen before. I gave this 4 stars. There's definitely some spice in this, but it's not insane. But the tension is like, you know, like it's really a big part of this. The next book on the list is The Cheat Sheet, and I really hated it. I did give it 2 stars. I think I always think that I have given it 1 star, and it's like my lowest rated one, but I gave it 2 stars. I just really hated the writing and how stupidly, like, it wasn't even cheesy. It was like cringy, like stupid. It is a sports romance, which I guess I just really don't like. And it's by Sarah Adams, which has so many books that are super popular, and so many people don't mention how cringy it is, which concerns me. I'm like, so is the rest of her writing fine, and like this is just a one-off? Or yeah, I had like visceral reactions to this book while reading it. I was like I had to like I literally was getting so frustrated I had to put down the book and like breathe for a second. I think I did finish this book. I don't think I ever DNF'd a book up until this point. Maybe I did. I don't know. But I hated it. Next, I don't have this book, Impulse by Ellen Hopkins. This is like a, I don't know how to describe it. It's just not great. My friend who was living with me, she really liked this book. It's one of her favorites, and so I was like, let me give it a shot while you're here, like while we were sharing books and stuff. It was hecka weird. It made me really uncomfortable. And it like glorified so many bad things. Let's see, what did I give it? 3 stars? It's definitely not as bad as The Cheat Sheet or like The Diary of an Oxygen Thief, but I didn't like it. It was also like, it felt very pretentious too, like the characters and also the writing. So I'm probably not going to visit Ellen Hopkins books again. This next one I read from the library, so I don't have it. It's The Guess by Emma Cline. I gave this 4 stars. This YouTuber, I think her name is Nicole Rafi or something like that. Respect on her name for sure. But she mentioned this in one of her book videos, which she needs to make more of. I love her way of thinking about books and how she describes them as well. We also have very similar likes in books. But The Guess is basically about like this girl who basically like cheats and lies and manipulates her way through like living, and it's definitely right. It's definitely it's not a book for everyone, I think, because I don't think that many people like it. But I personally loved it, and also the cover. I love the cover too. The next book I read was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I really liked this book. It definitely wasn't as good as Normal People, but I like these little slice of life books. Sally Rooney is really good at writing different characters' ways of thinking. Like, not every person has the same like mindset. Yeah, this book was a train wreck for sure, in a good way. I recommend Sally Rooney for sure. Next, I read Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. This book was rough. It was very deep. My copy was really messed up. I just grabbed it from Half Price Books, and there was like dead insects in it for some reason. There's a lot of ants in it too. Lots of dirt and crumbs. So I don't know who the person before me owned it, what they were doing, but I just gave it back. I do love Toni Morrison's writing though, so I think I will revisit, but when I'm probably in a better headspace because it was really sad and depressing, obviously. I did give it 3 stars, which I think I would agree with now. Next is I'm Glad My Mom Died, Jeanette McCurdy. This was the first memoir I read. You will not be seeing me writing a book. This was really eye-opening about how people struggle when you can't tell it all, and it's like, it should have been so apparent. I hope she's okay. I gave this 4 stars. Next, I read The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I gave that 4 stars. There's not much to say about it. I feel the same way about it as I do the movie. It's very thought-provoking, and again shows like how easy it is to not be able to see somebody's struggles, even though it's like screaming in people's faces and it's like people just want to ignore. I think I read the audiobook for this, so I don't have my own copy. So I don't think I would reread it again because of how depressing it was. A lot of the books that are depressing I probably wouldn't reread again. Next is The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. In short, it is, this was so sad. Like, she was just a baby. Also, the way this ends is exactly how in the movie her life ends, and like the dialogue and just like, oh, it just hit hard. Yeah, Stephenie Meyer definitely ranks fear very good and confusion. So I recommend this if you've read Eclipse, just to get more of an understanding of how this occurred. I gave that 4 stars. I'd say 3.5, but 4 is fine. Then I read Life and Death. This is Twilight, but the gender swapped version. It was kind of confusing to imagine like everybody gender swapped, but if you look up a picture of everybody gender swapped, it makes it much easier. This book was surprising. Like, I thought it would just be Twilight, literally gender swap like people say. It's not. Like, it might start out that way, but it's crazy. And also, Stephenie Meyer's, like, reasonings of why she did certain things is in this book, which was super enlightening, and I really appreciate when authors do that, just to clear up any confusion. If somebody didn't like the book, she probably had a reason for why they didn't like it. I gave this 4 stars out of 5. I also have the illustrated guide. So, I haven't read this fully. I read a good chunk of it though. One day, I will read all of it. Maybe when I revisit all of the Twilight books. I just talked so in depth about this and I didn't record it. So, I'm gonna kill myself. I gave this 5 stars. 4.5 stars, but I'm gonna move on because of what I just said. The Lightning Thief. I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about all 5 of them right now. The Lightning Thief series, I gave every book 4 stars. I did read this in middle school, and I only got to like the middle of the 4th book. So to finish it now was really interesting. I found an old bookmark in there that I made and never finished coloring, so I finished it, and it was really cool. There's not much to say about it. It's such a cool storyline. The writing's great. I do want to read the rest of, I don't know how to say his name, Riordan? His books. But yeah, those were a good chunk of books there. Very easy to read because they're, of course, young adult. Next was my first Emily Henry. I'm not going to pull it out because it's under this stack. People We Meet on Vacation. I gave this 4 stars. It's so annoying because they're like already boyfriend and girlfriend and they just say they're besties. Okay, obviously you guys like each other. Like, what's going on? What's going on? I don't really like the main female character. She pissed me off a lot. But I love Emily Henry's writing, so I want to read more of her stuff in the future. While we're on the topic, I'm just going to say about Happy Place. It's under here. You probably can't see it, but I like this one a lot more than People We Meet on Vacation. But I also did give it 4 stars. I loved the characters in this book. It just felt very homey, and the way that Emily set up like the house in their college, like I felt like I was there with them. And everybody was very lovable, and I loved them. I loved Harriet, the main female character. She's great. Next, Call Me By Your Name. I read this during summertime. Girl, reading this by the pool and smelling sunscreen and listening to like Italian music. Oh, this hit. It was very depressing, but I would reread it again. I, of course, gave it 5 stars. So, even though male writers are weird, they always gotta add something weird about women, bro. Next, I read The Lost Sisters by Holly Black. Taryn, I already hate you. Don't make it worse. Don't make it worse. Don't make it worse. I know that Holly wrote this book to be like, but Taryn, like, this is what happened. And I was like, in one ear out the other, I don't care. But it was a good book. I gave it 4 stars. It's like a little novella between the first and second book, I'm pretty sure. Then I read The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. I gave this 4 stars. It's like kind of in the universe of The Cruel Prince, but it's about these human brother and sister and how they interact with the fantastical world and how their town is really weird. It's got weird vibes. It's very like mysterious, and I love the vibes of this book. Great book to start with, Holly Black. Just get a taste of it. I recommend. Also, I read these, The Lost Sisters and The Darkest Part of the Forest, on Kindle, so I don't have the physical for them. Next, I read Hatchet. I read this in elementary or middle school, and I remembered it so vividly that I was like, let me read this now and see if what I thought happened, because maybe I just made it up. But now, like, this book is cuckoo cray cray. I love how you can like learn survival skills from reading books like this. But it made me not want to fly over Canada, so I gave this 4 stars. It's a super easy, light read. It is anxiety inducing though, so if you're not cool with that, yeah, this is about 180 pages, so. Next, Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Bro, this book was so good. There's like 4 parts of it, and each one like tugs at your heartstrings, and I just love like reading about the real world, but it has some slight little thing that's magical, and you're like, I wish I could find something like this, but also I don't, because it sounds traumatizing. But I gave it 5 stars. I read this on my Kindle. It's basically about this underground cafe that has this magical spot where if you drink this coffee at this spot, then you can go back in time, or more in time in the future. Hello. And speak with like someone or do something, as long as you're sitting in that chair, and you have to drink the whole cup before the coffee gets cold, because if not, you'll stay there forever. So it's pretty cool. I recommend that. Next, I read To Kill a Mockingbird. Just one of those classics I wanted to read. I did give it 3 stars because I kind of like was pushing myself through it. It's a cool little storyline, but so annoying and depressing. Yeah, that's just what I felt about it. I was like, yeah. It is frustrating to read, and it is a good storyline, but just reading about that kind of stuff, it boils my blood, obviously, but I don't think I'd like to spend all my time reading things like that, because it just hurts me mentally. Next, I read Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop. My grandma had this as decoration for Christmas in her house, and I picked it up and I read the first page and I was like, oh, this sounds really cool. Let me read it for you. No, let me not do that. The author makes like this really beautiful winter bookshop scene, and then all of a sudden somebody says, cut, like a director's cut. Like, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because it doesn't look like anything to do with a movie or anything. So I was like, that's cool. So that's all I read, and I was like, Grandma, are you gonna read this? And she's like, no, I just have it for decoration. I was like, can I take this with me? And she was like, oh yeah, for sure. I'm glad she didn't read it, because I was embarrassed reading it, like, because something really embarrassing happens like really early on, and I was like, oh god, if my grandma knew I read this, she'd be like. So it was a great book though. I gave it 4 stars. So if you're looking for a Christmassy, wintry book, this one's the one. Okay, the rest of these books I read this year. So these are all of what I read this year, including that one. So I read Find Me, sequel to Call Me By Your Name. I didn't love it. I really didn't. Again, male authors are freaking weird. Quit your shiz, bro. I'm over it. There was literally like 15, maybe, pages of their love story in the sequel to Call Me By Your Name. What are you talking about? It just was a really unnecessary book, in my opinion. Good writing, but Andre, you're doing too much. Not every single character has to have like this intellectual and dialogue all the time. Like, that's not how life is. Maybe it's good to read like every once in a while in between books, but not in one sitting. I did, but I couldn't. I gave it 3 stars. So, and I got it from the library, so no physical. Thank God. Next, I read on my Kindle Animal Farm. I gave this 4 stars. This book made me think. It really did. I was like just comparing it to like what's happening right now, and I'm like, I felt like this clip of Jaden Smith.
Dude, like, oh my God, like, can we talk about like the political and economic state of the world right now?
Read that. Also, I've been watching a lot of Brittany Broski, and on her podcast, she usually has like a book segment about what book she's reading and what she recommends. She's been reading a lot of like the classic stuff that kind of have like this dystopian vibe to it. So I've been getting into that. I like it so far. Then on my Kindle, I also read It Happened One Summer, and that's by Tessa Bailey. Girl, the spice in that book. Ooh! Back up. Too much. A little too much. If you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. There's 2 parts. That I'm like, okay, I didn't need to know that much in depth of what's going on here. I really didn't. I think I'm gonna look more into like closed door romances, because it's a lot right now. But besides that, it was such a good story. It was such a good, cute little story. I love the characters so much. I love the setting. It was in the same kind of vibe of like Twilight, but like coastal. Yes, yes, yes. Get into that. If you don't care about the smutty smut, go ahead and do that. But if you do care about it, don't read it because it's a bit much. 4 stars. Then on my Kindle, I read The Yellow Wallpaper. This book is like 25 pages long, but it feels like so much happens that you're just like the hell? Like all of a sudden you're just like, oh, what the. And I'm pretty sure on my review I said somebody get this girl a teal and white chevron pattern wallpaper, please. I think she would have been like that anyways, regardless of the wallpaper. But read it. It was spooky. I don't like horror, but that was a nice little thing. Because it's 25 pages. Just read it. If you have a Kindle Unlimited, read it. Also, all these books I'm saying I read on my Kindle, they're on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm not paying for this shit. I'm not. 5 stars. Okay, next on my Kindle, I read The Answer is No by Frederick Backman. I give this 4 stars. This is also a really short book. I'm pretty sure it's like 50 or 70 pages. It's really refreshing though because I found myself a lot in the main guy's character. And even towards the end, I was like, yeah, that's me. I definitely want to read more Frederick Backman stuff in the future, so if you have any recommendations, let me know. Next on my Kindle, I read The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. This book was also short. I think it was like 100 pages maybe. Oh, this book terrified me, like actually, like the characters he is talking about, or like the creatures. Fire, like actually fire, like fire. Stay away, demons. But this was so good, and if you can get past like the literal like archaic way of writing, which I read an audiobook while reading this because Lord knows I'm not really smart and I can't read old writing like that, so yeah, read an audiobook while reading this. Trust that it's good. 4 stars. The next book I read was Legendborn. If you watched the last video, you would know that I've been stuck on this book forever. I finally finished it. Everything made sense in the end, and it had a cool ending. Like, it was cool, like Cruel Prince level cool. But it was a lot to get there. It's 500 pages, which is kind of standard for a fantasy like this. I had a gripe with the writing too, and how the author said what was happening before explaining what was happening, like where oh, there's a trial tonight or something, and the girl's like, oh, there's a trial tonight, and then she's in the trial, and then like as she's doing the trial, then the author explains what's happening, not like before, which is like the Cruel Prince, I feel like explains what's happening as it's happening, not after it's happening. It was just really confusing, and I was like, I had to reread a lot. Like, I reread anyway, like, just like, I reread the same sentence like 5 times, so this was a lot of that, which was really annoying, but I still give it 4 stars because the ending was badass, bro. I do have Blood Marked, so that's gonna be something I read really soon. I finished that like a few days ago, so I don't think I'm ready yet to move on to the next one. I'm gonna read some stuff first and then move on. But I'm really excited that one of the characters is no longer with us. Not in that way, but like, let's give time for this other character. Let's give time for this other character, please. Please. I'm tired of that other guy. Give it to me now. So that's what this book is apparently, so I'm really excited for that. 4 stars. Next I listened to Loud, Accept Nothing Less Than the Life You Deserve by Drew F. Wallow. This book good. It was okay. It was super repetitive though. Like she said a lot of the same phrases and words a lot, so I was like, but it had a great message. I'm glad I read it. I like Drew a lot. I like her humor. I wish her humor would show through the audiobook more and through the book in general more. Not too many complaints. It was alright. I give that 3 stars. Okay, that's literally all of the books I've ever read. So, I think that was like over 60 books. 68 books, I think. I'm currently reading Fahrenheit 451. I'm halfway through. I'm flying through this book, bro. The writing is really weird. It's a little confusing for my pea brain, but besides that, it's really good so far. I love the idea of like government manipulation and like propaganda. Like I love reading about stuff like this, and I'm like, how much of this is like super true? Like they're talking about how George Washington was one of the first firemen. He wasn't, but I'm thinking like, what are they lying about that we believe? And like that we're like, George Washington was not the first fireman, and then we're like, in real life we're like, but what do we think is that somebody else would be like, that's not true, you know? It gets me thinking. And the cover art, that was freaking cool. That's so smart. So this is probably going to be like a 4 or 5 stars. I already expect it. And next, because Miss Brittany Broski recommended it on her last podcast. I kind of wish she didn't, but it's Quicksilver. This reads so well. I'm on chapter 3 right now, and it reads like a Star Wars movie or something, and it's super up my alley. But I know there's gonna be a lot of spice based on what she said, but I didn't realize this was gonna be 600 pages. I wish she mentioned that, but she said that she like flew through this, so it's like, oh, it must be like 400 pages, maybe like 500, possibly 600. So I'm not excited about that, but it reads so well, so I'm excited that it's not bad writing, because I really hate DNFing books, and I need to talk about my DNF'd books. My 3 DNF'd books of ever, the only one that I DNF'd. The first one I DNF'd is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. You're not going to catch me reading Colleen Hoover. You will not, because reading that, I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. Like, the writing is so Wattpad, and I'm pretty sure, is that where she started? I don't know. I would believe it. It's really, 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 really bad. Like, it's so, I can't even explain why I hate it so much. It's just so bad. And with all the stuff that's happening right now, I'm like, I keep thinking, oh, let me try and reread it again. No, I tried to reread it again. Hated it more the second time. So, I did watch the movie though. Traumatizing. I didn't love that movie though. TBH. The next one I DNF'd is Catherine Center's Bodyguard. I actually have that somewhere. Right here. Right here. Same as Colleen Hoover. The writing is irritating. I will read it so I can say I read Catherine Center, but I like the premise though. I do. So that's why I'm going to give it a chance. I just hated everything about It Ends With Us from what I knew and what I've already read, so bye. This last one is hella controversial, and I'm scared to say this out loud. My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh. Moshfegh? I don't know. I hated this. Maybe I'm just not one of those girls that get it, but oh my god, I don't know if I read this right, but she shat on somebody's floor out of spite. She shat on somebody's floor. Okay, me personally, I'm like, yes, go girl, like, screw it, like, shit on that floor. No, I don't know why. It was just really, really annoying. It was really annoying. I was like, I gotta put it down. Maybe one day I'll revisit it. Probably not, but I wanted so badly to like this book because all the hot girlies like this one. I just couldn't do it. My cat just killed me. I've released all of my sins. It's all out on the table. But yeah, that's all the books I've ever read and DNF'd, and the books I'm currently reading. Also, something about Quicksilver, I think that's what it's called. The cover art for this is so stupid. Stupid. Like, I'm glad that there's ads on Kindle so you can't see what I'm reading, because, like, that's embarrassing. I don't want to be seen reading that, okay? Okay. But again, the writing is really good so far, so I feel a weight has lifted off my shoulders. This is going to take me 12 years to edit, but it will be edited. It will be. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this video, and my next one will probably be me trying on all my clothes and getting rid of them. So, I think that's it. If you have any recommendations, put them down below. I'll probably put my socials and whatnot in the description. If I remember to do that, I probably won't. Don't watch my first video. It's really bad. And don't watch this one either. I know you already finished it, but don't watch this one. Don't. You just watched it. Anyways. Bye.